Does time travel already exist and time travelers live among us today? In an alternate dimension, are smartphones obsessed with us? Answers to these questions and more on this episode of This Paranormal Life. Hey! That's right, we're back on a Tuesday. Welcome to This Paranormal Life, the only podcast that's hosted by myself, Mr. Kit Greer, and Mr. Rory Powers, professional paranormal investigator, MD, PhD, all rolled into one.
It's an MD, PH, MDPud. MDPud is how you pronounce it.
That's right.
Yeah.
On this podcast, every week we dissect a different paranormal claim or tale and find out if it's true or not using our deductive skills honed over, frankly, decades of paranormal research.
Absolutely. And one of the great things about this podcast that we try and do, there's a lot of podcasts out there, a lot of noise, and we like to cut through it because every week we get straight to the point.
That's right.
We start our podcast and we go straight to the point. So many of these podcasts,
they just like to talk.
They ramble, they talk. Oh, how was your weekend? Oh, you'll never guess this ghost I saw yesterday.
I did see though, you were at the beach?
Yeah, this weekend. Yeah. Oh man, it was so nice.
Nice.
It was really, really cool.
What was the weather like? Good?
Yeah, it was pretty good. Yeah, I saw you as well. You were at the park.
The park, exactly. Yeah.
We're in the trench coat again, which is a weird vibe.
Park run, but in the trench coat.
In the trench coat.
Right. I'm so good. I just like to throw in a little wild card.
Right. I would agree with that, but you were only wearing the trench coat.
So
you can't be that good.
Mostly illegal, somewhat good. Yeah.
I mean, you could be good, but you should still wear shoes when you run. And also not the trench coat. I can make this more clear.
Were you just chasing children? I would say.
So straight to the point is what we do every week.
That's right. Well, this week, Rory, I've got a doozy for you. I know I say that every week, and frankly, my words are not worth a penny. This week, I'm for real, okay? I don't know if you've heard anything or know anything about a little book called The Vertical Plane.
All right, I'm going to nip this right in the bud before we get started. Did you write this book?
No.
Shit, of course not.
That would be weird.
I know nothing. I know actually nothing about this book.
Okay.
So I'm excited to have this investigation forced upon me.
Yeah, that's right. The Vertical Plane was actually, going back a few weeks, this was a listener submission.
Right.
From a Mr. Rob C. At the email. He emailed into thisparanormallifepodcast@gmail.com with
good.
This, frankly, spicy hot take of a suggestion. So thank you very much, Rob.
Thank you for writing in.
This has been illuminating.
Wow. I will say that you have messaged me 3 times this week telling me how stressed you are over this episode.
That's right.
I've witnessed a man slowly lose his mind.
Mostly the trench coat thing, but also the podcast.
I'm just waiting for you to go, do you think the book sounds cool, Rory? And I'm like, I guess it does sound cool. Well, you can meet the author tonight. Oh, you did write it, of course. It's brilliant.
3,000 strong to buy this book on Amazon eBooks. The Kindle edition of this episode will be available tonight. Okay, I'm just going to cut right to the chase, folks. I don't think a lot of the listeners at home will know about this book. I certainly didn't.
Till I wrote it. And now the doors have been opened.
All I knew was that the author was handsome, cunning.
Had a hog.
At least 6
2
foot
hog.
4. Okay.
And his name rhymes with shit. Because he is it.
Shit queer.
You just insulted yourself so much by trying to find an alias. I didn't write it. It was shit queer.
It's like I'm so obsessed with the author sounding cool that I'm so ready to denigrate myself. Yeah. So much freaking cooler than me. I mean, yeah, he's like, he could probably get with like loads of girls like me. But this book contains information so mind-blowing, so mind-bending, so face-melting that if true, it changes everything.
Okay.
That's right. If we use our abilities today as paranormal investigators to tear this puppy apart and we discover it's true, we'll have changed the world live on this godforsaken podcast.
Wow, that's a big op.
And yet, few know this story. The book was only printed for a short time in the UK, I think in 1989, and it's extremely rare today.
That's worryingly close.
Secondhand copies regularly sell for hundreds of dollars. I think at the time of speaking, There's one copy available on Amazon UK for £600. This podcast does not make that kind of money.
No.
As such, I have not read this book. But luckily, luckily, small pockets of intrepid explorers of the paranormal have documented this book online and discuss it in forums to this day. There's a very small but active community discussing this book.
Well, that's what I was going to say. If this is being passed down and purchased, presumably by people who are paranormal investigators.
Yes, sir.
Why hasn't this just been documented and turned into an ebook or photographed and scanned and uploaded online?
Well, I think they would like it to be published again, but it's like it's not going to be like a bestseller. So I think,
right, okay.
I think it was originally published by HarperCollins when they had an occult
a wizard
section.
as a head.
You're really tanking the stock price here, Lancelot. But,
Are you sure you know what you're doing, Dumbledore?
Shut up! Casts a spell, shuts the door on. It's like, he has all these spells, but he can't generate money.
Why are you still selling books? You're a wizard. Out ye! Important book. Very rare.
So it's a crazy story. I'm going to dive right in. It all begins in autumn 1984. We're in England, near the border of Wales, in a small town called Dodleston. And the author, Ken Webster, is living in a cottage with his friend Debbie and their friend Nicola.
Okay.
Well, one day, Nicola needs to write something up. You know, we've all been there. You need to write up a letter, CV, screenplay, what have you. The only problem is it's 1984. You don't just open up your Wacbook Pro and send it by Bluetooth to your 3D printer. Computers in 1984 shitty as hell.
Right, obviously.
Just how shitty, you ask? I actually had to look this up.
How shitty were computers in olden days?
Very.
Oh, okay.
The first CD-ROM was invented in 1984. People might remember, actually. Do you know that really iconic Mac ad where like the girl runs, it was a Super Bowl ad, and the girl runs down the corridor of like all these people dressed in grey.
Oh, the one that everyone takes the piss out of now. Right, yeah.
And then she smashed a sledgehammer through this giant screen and sets everyone free.
So dumb.
That was 1984 because they released first computer to ever have like a user interface, basically. The whole concept of using a mouse to click on things hadn't been invented until the year 1984.
Yeah. That's why all those people were slaves to the machine.
It was back-breaking labor just to send an email, people.
Yeah, it was like the mines. You sent them away and then come back like all exhausted
come back
and tired.
with some sort of rare disease. They lived to about 25. But what they did have was the BBC Micro. I don't know if you've seen a picture of this before, Rory. It's kind of like, I'm going to paint a picture for the listeners at home. It's kind of like, if you've ever seen like the Commodore,
right?
Those early video game systems, and they were just like, they look like typewriters, but I guess you plugged a screen into them.
Even if I had seen the picture of it, what was that voice? Like, that didn't explain the voice.
The BBC Micro is now available at all good retailers. For only, it actually cost like basically $1,000 if you adjust for inflation. It was super expensive. And
I'm sure you'll understand if you've seen the ads. The BBC Micro. Why would I understand? Even if I had seen... There's nothing I could have seen in that ad that would justify the voice you just did to sell me the BBC Micro.
It was the early days of PR. They hadn't really worked out how to sell things yet. Yar, buy one or we'll kill you. Yar. I'm going to actually show you the ad here.
Oh, okay,
just to like set the scene.
Right.
Guys at home, if you want to see it, this is, you can just YouTube BBC Micro advert. Because this computer is going to crop up a lot during the story, so it's worth like knowing what it looked like.
Okay.
Story of Daphne, who longs to be alone with her very own BBC Micro.
See, I don't think my voice is that far
As
off.
for Daphne, Acorn have also made it rather attractive.
God, this is an old-fashioned ad.
I mean, look at those graphics.
Hello, Uncle.
So the ad is showing how a businessman can use a computer, and then like a scientist can use a computer.
God, and then the girl's upset she can't use it, but the girl's also played by an old man.
Yeah, this was like the Shakespeare days when no women were allowed.
And now there's some sort of poltergeist doorway.
Poor Daphne.
Which is actually, I did notice that. You're right, there was a flash of light at the end of the ad and a poltergeist doorway. That will become relevant.
This is a weird story already. This is a very strange story.
Agreed.
A haunted computer is what we're essentially talking about right now.
That's what I'm selling you on.
Okay.
Are you sold, sir? Yeah. Is it true or false?
Because if you want to buy it, it's here.
I bought a frickin' job lot of these, 35 for £10,000 on eBay. I need a return on investment fast. So listeners, if you want this podcast to survive, nay, if you want me to have house and home for the next few months, please buy
I have a
micro.
surplus of BBC micros. The warehouse is expensive. It's full of rats, and I need to sell them
When
now.
people said the 80s was coming back, I really bought it.
Also, if any of y'all need a pager, I have warehouse number 2 fully stacked, ready to go.
If anyone
Also full of
needs a
rats.
perm. If anyone wants curly hair. Okay, so I just wanted to set the scene for what this computer was. So, backtrack. Nicola needed to type something up. No one really had computers back then. But luckily, Ken, the author of this story, he was a school teacher at this time. And he said, no worries, Nicola, we've got a bunch of these new BBC micros at the school. I'll borrow one for a while, type up your stuff.
Nice.
So we took it out, set it up in the kitchen, and before long, Nicola was smashing out scripts left, right, and centre. Well, one day, they fire up the BBC Micro, and before they can boot the word processor, which I think was called, this is kind of fun, it was called Edward, but like the word is like W-O-R-D.
Oh, hey, that's great.
Which is quite
And
cute.
like editing words.
Yeah,
Word.
there's so many layers.
That's way better than Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
God damn, you slipped
Bill
up.
Gates, nerd, bitch.
Yeah. Or like Bill hates creativity.
More like shill hates.
Nice, man. More like little bitch. Not clever, just true. They're not
More
all
like,
going to
fucking
be funny.
fight me, son of a bitch.
They're all going to be funny.
Yeah, they go to boot up the word processor, but Ken notices there's a new file on the disk. It's titled KDN. That's funny, there shouldn't be anything on there. It's like a new computer, he took it from the school.
Yeah.
But he types his command prompt. I mean, like, back then it wasn't just a case of clicking on it, you gotta type it in. So he's like, open file,
You got to go Matrix on that
KD.
thing.
Yeah, you gotta like tap in, you gotta get like a cable.
Jacked in the back
Jack
of his
it into
head.
the back, yes, dude, back of your neck. Blood spurting. Hurts
I
the
am
first
now
time.
Edward.
Ken
You
is not here. Edward only.
Are you okay, Ken? Control, Alt, Delete.
Stab.
Control. I am a stabbing robot.
So he types in open file KDN. And there's this text. The formatting is all off, and there are capital letters in all the wrong places, but he can still just about read it. It might be fun to like hand it to you so you can see what the text looks like.
They have the file?
Oh, they have the file. The file is just it's just like a text, like a .txt.
Okay.
And this is what's inside. I'll pass it to you.
Let me get a look at this. Let me investigate. What in God's name is this?
1984, baby.
Okay, so the text reads, "True are the nightmares of a person that fears, safe are the bodies of the silent world. Turn, pretty flower, turn towards the sun, for you shall grow and sow. But the flower reaches too high and withers in the burning light. Get out, you bricks. Pussycat, pussycat, went to London to seek fame and fortune. Faith must not be lost, for this shall be your redeemer." What?
That's good, right?
That was in the file.
Yeah.
And he has no idea who wrote that.
Nope. He just like took this new computer, took it back.
From who?
Excuse-
Who did he take the computer from?
He took this from the school.
Right, and the man who gave it to him at the school.
But I want to make clear, this isn't the first time he's used the computer. He's taken it home at this point.
Okay.
And he knew there was nothing on it. Set up in the kitchen, there's a new file on it. That's what's inside.
Okay, so it wasn't the madman who gave him the computer.
Hopefully
something.
not. But we don't know yet. We just don't know anything yet. Like the way you just read it is, I guess, how Ken read it.
Okay.
First thoughts.
You think I'm Ken?
I'm Debbie, for sure.
First thoughts, man, what? Like what? Usually, you know, these paranormal stories have the grounds in something else, but this is something I've never seen before.
Tech-mediated weirdness.
But is it beyond the realms of possibility that someone else just went onto the computer and typed out a bunch of stuff? Maybe
That's where
this
you're
was
right.
pranking in 1980s.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Kind of weird that it's like poetry, but like, yeah, totally. Someone could have just lifted that from
That was someone
poetry
like,
book.
I think whoever he lives with got back drunk that night and was like, maybe just like broken up with his girlfriend or something. And it's just like, you think I'm not emotional enough? I'm emotional enough. F- you, girl. I'm gonna be emotional right now. Oh, pussycat, pussycat. Flowers to the sun, baby. Blah, blah, blah.
Baby.
I love you, Redeemer. The end. And then he calls it. Oh, actually, they should know that I don't mean this. I'll call the file kidding. Oh, it's too long. KDN. He'll know. Everyone will know. Good night. And then he falls asleep.
Nicholas left the building. Good night. Yeah. Yeah, because the capital letters are in all the wrong places, it does look
It's
like
a drunk guy
text.
tried to write a love poem.
That's given it a whole new flavor, I have to say.
And also ended this podcast. Thanks for listening. We wrapped up this story.
I guess that's what happened. I mean, I thought it was the devil, but no, that's actually way more believable.
Because the next 5 bullet points are all about more drunken poems appearing on this laptop. That's basically all that happens.
The rest are actually not that cryptic. It's mostly about lager.
There's one mystery here that he found a bit of sick on the corner of the keyboard. At one point, there's a crack in the screen. Another point, there was a 5 glass on the table.
Looks like someone tried to open a beer on the side of his computer, kind of scuffed it. Yeah.
Someone had also Googled hot girls. Total mystery, don't know who did it.
I mean, the internet hadn't been invented at that point, so I don't know what they were trying to achieve.
And Googled hangover cures. So we'll leave this one to you, viewers.
Can you? Because that's such a thing today, is like people's embarrassing search histories.
Yeah, totally.
It must have been so funny back in the day of like early internet, all these like command prompts left on the screen.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like, Greg, did you, I feel like you were last on the computer here. I mean, it says server last accessed by Greg at 9:04. And then it's just like, you know, big titty 5, you know, was the
Because presumably,
the last file opened.
in my head, it works like a text adventure in those days.
Yeah.
So you get to the web page, but then you have to be like, remove clothing, and then it'll like reply being like, clothing is beyond your reach. It's like, oh, okay, I guess open the left door. You need a key to open that door. It's like, rats.
Yeah.
Try and deliver pizza. She said she wanted extra sausage. Approach her. It's like,
It's such a weird text.
oh my god, a
adventure.
porn text adventure.
That for sure exists, right? You are a horny male. You are at home alone.
We've been talking about if we ever wanted to do extra episodes a month, what that could be. So if there is absolutely a porn-based text adventure, boom, that's one episode right there.
That's a
play
new
that.
podcast, guys. All right.
My
My
dad wrote a porn-based text adventure.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay. Ken discovers this poem. What the f***? Who wrote it? Ken talks to the guys, Deb and Nick, and they work out between them it wasn't them. Of course they would say that, but they decide it wasn't them. The computer has been sitting there all night, and not to mention this is pre-internet, so there's no physical way of transferring information to that computer.
That's a good point. What about floppy Ds?
Yeah, it does take a floppy D, yeah. But I mean, I guess...
Are we still talking about the porn-based text adventure?
Yeah, it does take a floppy disk.
Right.
Definitely possible.
Okay.
And I think they're still entertaining that possibility.
I'm
that
just
it's
feeling out what we got going on.
100%. They kind of just get on with things. They think it must be an anomaly, could have been preloaded on the disk. They might have not seen it the first time round, whatever.
Gotcha.
But the problem is they couldn't just forget about it because everything wasn't peachy grand. Other stuff was occurring in the house. Weird stuff. Occasionally, they would walk into their kitchen or living room, and items of food or trinkets would be stacked on top of each other.
Trinkets?
Yeah, just like little things around
Are
the
they
house.
goblins? What do they live in this weird cave?
Small items of silver and gold and stolen possessions from royalty.
So weird.
Yeah, you can imagine the conversation in the house. It's like Ken walks in and he's like, hey, Deb, like, is that your stuff? He's like, no, I thought you did that. Like, Nicola, have you been stacking shit in the living room? It's like, no, I thought that was you.
Also, why would anyone... I don't think I've ever stacked anything really in my life.
No.
Aside from CDs or, like, trinkets.
Is this because I just said the CD-ROM was invented that year? Ken walks into the room, there's a stack of CDs. He's like, whoa.
Jesus
What
Christ.
the f***? Debbie, get in here. Debbie, get in here. Who did this? Ghosts, though.
Haven't you done this before? Only with trinkets. Normal trinkets.
Maybe magazines, hell, books. But CDs?
Debbie, grab your things. We're leaving.
So this kept happening, and they figured someone they knew was pranking the shit out of them, that someone was breaking into the house and trying to freak them out. Like, just kind of, I guess, like, some people leave, like, their front door open, and maybe, like, you just try to think what could be happening. Maybe someone was just darting in and doing it, like some little shithead kids, the way kids go around and with their neighbors.
Stack stuff?
I guess. Well, a few days pass, but one afternoon, Nicola boots up the micro once more, and right away she sees a new file. She opens it up right away and calls the others to see. It's another text file, but something's wrong. It's in English, but it's old English, like pre-Shakespeare stuff. I write on behalf of many, what strange words thou speak. Thou art goodly man who hath fanciful woman who dwell in mine home with lights which devil maketh. 'Twas a great crime to hath bribed mine house. L.W.
Oh, that's it?
That's it. No, it is actually longer than that.
Okay.
But this is a good point in the story to say that this book is fucking long. There's a lot of stuff. Ken basically describes about 16 to 18 months of his life living in this house with Debbie.
Yeah.
And a lot of stuff happens over the course of that. So for the sake of this podcast, and you'll see most people do this online, they kind of cut to the biggest stuff that happened.
Okay, so the book
Yeah.
is a diary kept by him of the occurrences?
It's basically a non-fiction retelling of all the events that occurred.
Okay,
And he
okay.
called it The Vertical Plane, and it was released as, inverted commas, non-fiction.
Gotcha.
Yeah. L.W. What could it mean? Who could it be? All Ken, Deb, and Nicola know was someone was f***ing with them. They figured someone was getting into the house somehow and typing up these files, maybe a friend or a kid. It had to be. Ken thought the prank was getting in bad taste at this point because that letter was kind of vaguely spooky and threatening. It kind of mentions that they've trespassed upon some house and that it's a great crime and everything.
Of course.
But he was kind of curious and he wanted someone's opinion on it, so he took a print of this to his friend Peter, who worked at a local university.
Peter
Yes.
L.W. Smith.
They didn't really
A
connect.
good
with
friend of his, great with computers and lock picking. Walks into Peter's room, stacks of trinkets from floor to ceiling.
us. Dressed in all black, still with a balaclava.
Why, hello, trespasser. Hey, Pete, what's up, man?
It was a great crime of you to intrude upon my room. Well, now that you've said that, Peter was an expert in Old English
Oh, here we go. Of course he was.
and early modern English, which I didn't realize, but are two different things. I guess Ken thought he would find it interesting or at least funny, so he thought he'd run it by him. But when he hands this text to Peter, his face is sullen. He wants to know where...
He thinks he's been caught. That's why.
Have you told anyone about it? Did you call the police? Don't.
If I, God forbid, took a poop in someone's house...
Excuse.
And then I'm like at my office and someone comes and goes, Rory, and I turn around and they're holding the poop. My face would go white as a ghost
I
because
think you would go, what is it goes whether
they
it's your
go-
poop or not. You're not going to go, oh, poop in the house.
it's a very good point. Like even if I hadn't done it and I turned around and someone had poop in their
like,
hand, I'd be
"Oh,
like,
Jesus."
oh, so it was you. That was a bad example.
You're not going to look at the poop and go, shit, it's mine. I don't recognize that son of a bitch anywhere.
Or even go, yes, go on. Like, you'd be completely blown away. All right, that was a terrible
I
example.
know, I can imagine the train of thought. Someone shows you a poop and in your head you're going, play it cool, play it cool. And you don't even look at it. Yes?
It isn't
Can
mine.
I help you?
What? The poop.
I
It
didn't
isn't
say
mine.
it was.
I love this character of like the suave guy who denies something so much and so smoothly. Yeah. like some dude whose wife is murdered in the house while he's there, and then the detectives comes by and it's like, so what were you doing at the time? Oh, detective, it couldn't possibly have been me. Are you not sad that your wife was murdered? Huh. Well, I know it wasn't me, if that's what you're thinking, detective.
I guess you could say I'm still in shock.
Check the knives if you like, but not the one in the garden. Shit. Give me a minute, detective. Pulls out the window.
He runs away. Sprints.
Shitting his heroes.
Such a confused criminal.
Oh, detective.
I
Is he horny? Like, I don't know. All right, I feel like I got a grasp on Peter's character now.
Okay.
I can do any Peter voices if you want.
Okay. So he's an expert in these old dialects of English, and he wants to know where Ken's got this stuff from. Not only that, but he wants to take it home and study it. Cut to next time Ken sees Peter, and he's freaked out, man. He says, this stuff is period correct. If someone's playing a prank on you, they're a scholarly prankster.
What do you mean periodly correct? I mean, how much does Old English really vary?
I'm glad you asked that question, Rory, because it varies a shitload.
Ye of little faith. Is that Old English?
You understand that? Uneducated twerp.
Oh, ye little bitch. That wasn't Old English. You can't just say, oh, ye.
You can't just put ye in front of things.
Ye off. Ye bitch.
It turns out it varies a lot. I mean, I'm sure you've had that experience. I know I have. You know, I'm just an ordinary fella. I
like
ordinary
beer.
Education. I like a cold beer at the weekends. I like my woman in the back of a pickup truck, I guess.
Fried jeans.
Not in a bad way, not in a weird, abducty way, but in
Tinted window, sure. Not in a weird way. I have sensitive eyes. Candy. Sometimes I'm diabetic.
Assault weapons in the back of the truck, not in a bad way. In
To
a
protect
kinda,
me from the weirdos. But God forbid, I will kill a man if he so much as cross me.
several,
Not in a weird way.
several passports in the on the dash, not in a weird way, just in a tax evasion way. I mean, you know, I'm just a down to earth guy. What can I say?
Mattress in the back, not in a weird way. I can sleep anywhere, you know. I slept for days, not in a weird way.
Swastika tattoo on my chest, not in a bad way though. Just in a kind of, you know, yearning for the days of old kind of way.
White hood, not in a weird way. I just hate a lot of people. Anyway, God bless.
Anyway, you just be on your way now. What I'm trying to say is,
Not in a weird way.
I've tried to enjoy Shakespeare,
Okay.
and I failed.
Well, we both read Merchant of Venice, presumably in secondary school.
That's
That's
right.
about as deep as I really.
We
got.
started a book club. It's just the two of us.
Ye Book Club. He's great.
Yeah, we read that in school. But
Yeah, and I even started with that.
and that was with a professional guiding you through the book line by line.
Yeah.
Going, all right, I know that bit's a bit opaque, but this is what he really meant to say here. And you were like, Jesus Christ, that's what he meant?
It's crazy.
I went to go see, what one was it? I went to go see, like, I don't know, one of his other plays in Belfast not that long ago. And I'll be honest, I didn't get a goddamn word. And I'm convinced that the only people in the audience who knew what was happening had, like, studied it. This was a visual stage adaptation, and I couldn't tell you one plot line. Granted, I was staring at my iPad. Granted, I was watching season 3 of Arrested Development. Granted, I had my earphones in. Granted, I was 6 beers deep. But it's opaque stuff.
Right.
What freaking year was Shakespeare, man?
Oh,
I'm gonna have to look this one up. Should we make guesses? What do you guess?
man. 14... I honestly have no idea. 1450?
I think it might be kind of funny to out ourselves as idiots here.
Yeah, literally no idea. 1412. No, later. 1498.
Okay. I'm gonna go later. I'm gonna say born in 1999. I think he had a lot to do with Y2K, actually.
I'm going to be so off.
Okay, no, you're saying 1412?
1498.
14... Why?
I flipped.
Your nose is bleeding. Suspense is killing me.
I think it might be older.
I'm gonna go 16.
I just said I think it might be older.
No, I was gonna go it anyway. I'm gonna be so wrong. Ah, shit. We're both wrong. Born 1564.
15, damn.
Okay, it wasn't too bad. He died in 1616.
Okay, we were both in the middle of that, you know, that wasn't too bad.
Like, to put it in perspective, you know the kind of stuff he was writing, like, and that was contemporary popular stuff. This was just before that.
Right.
This was dated to before that. I'm going to read you a little bit of because what I read you before was kind of the translated stuff.
Okay.
As translated by Peter.
Peter.
I hath no kinfolk to find, mine wife was wretched with thy pestilence, and the Lord didst take her soul, and her unbore son. Mine farm 'tis humble, but it hath a pretty parcel o' land. It hath redstone things and clean rushes on mine beaten floor. So it's like, you can pick out bits.
Yeah.
He said something about his wife dying and his
dying
kid
with
dying.
his son, but he's got a decent farm.
He's got a decent farm, but then he said something about red stones. Like, it's very opaque.
Right, okay.
And so this is why it needed to go to this Peter guy for translation. So needless to say, Ken, Nick, and Debbie didn't know what to make of it. But for fun, what Ken does is he gets his friend to draft a reply to this mysterious message in the kind of rough language they might understand. So like, don't use any like slang, like modern slang. Just like play their little game.
Yeah.
Like use that kind of language.
Go hardcore.
And their translation, you know, it worked out something like, you know, just basic questions like, thank you for the message. Sorry for disturbing you. What do you want us to do? Did you live here? Thank you for not making us afraid. There's a few other questions.
They're really going into it. Like, they're buying, they're going into it.
Yeah, they're just like,
They're
for
like,
the
don't
sake of...
stop touching our computer.
Yeah, because I mean,
stranger.
I think a lot of people would have gone like, F you, never come back. I'm going to shoot you.
Piss ye off.
I've called ye police with ye tasers. And by this time, Ken had the bright idea to try and catch the hoaxer in the act. So it's kind of clever, like set a little trap of a reply, but try and catch them. So this meant borrowing another computer, checking the disk for preloaded material before, make sure it was wiped clean, checking the house was secure, and then leaving the computer in the kitchen as before. Doors locked, all the rest of it.
What's the trap? They just did a bunch of things. It's like they were going to trap him. So they put the computer on the table, they closed all the doors, and they went to bed. It's like, what?
It's not so much a trap as a honey trap without the trap. It's just honey.
Just honey. Here's a free computer to mess with.
But I guess the idea was that they were leveling the playing field. And they're just trying to eliminate some of the doubt here.
Okay, so use a new computer.
Use a new computer.
Right, in case it was the weird cursed computer.
So they leave the room for a while and do their thing, but it's not long until they check back, maybe a couple hours. There's already another file. It reads, and this is the translation. It is helpful to hear of your time. The king is Henry VIII. Mine charge house is a place of law, of schooling. I must needs say, how is it there are many things of which I have no knowledge? If you cannot say why you're in my house, then I can no more help you than if my wits had gone. 28th March 1521.
Ooh.
So he gives them a date.
Yeah. So it's as if this person is leaving messages from the past that are appearing on this computer in the present.
Exactly, dude.
Oh.
Some kind of intertime dimensional thing going on.
So this might be the next logical step that they do, but so stop me if this is where we're headed next.
Okay.
But do they know about the origin of their house or the location that they're based in? Because, you know, if this was a town where, you know, there was a surrounding castle or old village, or maybe it had been built on land previously used in this farm, for example, then that would make a little bit of sense, right?
Yeah, there is definitely an obvious way of testing the veracity of these claims. Okay. And do not worry, we will get there.
I would trust you more, but you just checked your notes on an old BBC computer.
What do you have a problem with Edward about?
Just looks really old and haunted.
I think it said boo just now, but it still works
It's
fine.
also incredibly noisy. I think the fan in that thing needs to be cleaned.
What?
It's beeping like a modem.
I can't hear you, dude. I can't hear you over the modem.
I got that. It's not even connected to the internet. Why does it need a modem?
I actually bought it off the guy who sold us the Lombardi dolls.
Yeah, he's really deep in pocket. He needs to move a bunch of these.
So this is crazy at this point. The guys all think it's a hoax, but something is pulling Ken to write back. I guess you just want to see how far you can take it. Like, you know, I don't know. You live a boring life. It's like we always talk about these stories. Nothing going on, you know?
And also at this point, you know, they're not being really haunted or anything. Nothing bad is happening to them. Yeah. It's just some cool messages. You know, if I was talking with a guy to the past, I'd probably keep it going till like I got some weird threats or something.
Yeah. It would be the kind of thing that you'd like show people on like a night out. You'd be like, "Oh, hey, dude, I forgot to tell you." Like, and like over beers, you'd be like, "What should I say to him next?" Like,
yeah. Like I'm getting these weird old English DMs or something.
Yeah, I think you'd have to be pretty easily spooked to be like really, really annoyed and upset about this. So I kind of get where they're coming from. So Ken's asking them more questions, and as they do, LW starts revealing more about his life. He signs off in one of the messages, Lukas.
Oh.
So they're like getting to know a little bit more. Now they've got a name. He writes in one message, "The writing machine is a wonderful thing. Somewhat unnatural, I fancy. Unknown to myself it may be. I have seen you make lights on the box, and am cunning. Your merrymaking is loud, but it pleases me. But there is not enough trust. I know not whence you came, nor whither you will go." And this freaks the guys out, because Lukas isn't just communicating with them, but this means he can see them. He's seen their computer, the like box with lights.
Oh, I just assumed it meant he was writing on a box, like he had one as well.
Yeah, but he says, "I've seen you make lights with the box."
Ugh.
He says, "Your merrymaking is loud, and it pleases me."
Well, how was he talking to them?
We don't know yet.
God damn.
I
That's
know.
weird.
Yeah, Ken and Debbie and stuff, they're like musicians as well, and I think what he's saying there is that he's heard them like play music in the house. They're merrymaking. But the important thing is that as far as he's concerned, they're in his house. And he signs off this message, Lukas Weinman. Is that a real person? They try to check the town records, like you say, but of course the problem is that even if they found a name, that just means that someone else could have looked that name up. If someone was really going to these lengths of speaking like correct Old English,
Oh, right. They could just find
names,
a random
they could just
name.
find
Yeah.
any name, any
That's a
popular
really good
person.
point, actually.
But as it happens, they actually don't find the name Lukas Weinman. Well, they keep going back and forth and getting his messages translated, and Ken is trying to explain more and more information about the modern world. He describes all sorts of technological advancements, electricity, cars, computers, and of course, Lukas does not understand any of it. On one occasion, they kind of discover something new because, Ken's messing around, he's trying out new things, and because he's messaging him about these things, and Ken sort of thinks, all right, he's seen us, and he's like seen us hang out in this room, and he's seen me type on this thing, so let's test it. And he, instead of typing a message, he leaves a photo beside the computer. He leaves a photo of a car beside the computer. And then, lo and behold, hours later, the photo's gone. And there's a reply inside a text document which says, "What kind of wood is this? It's like silk." And they realize it's because he's never seen a photograph before. So like that kind of plasticky paper.
Oh, not even the car.
Not the car.
I thought he was talking about the car.
Not even getting started on the car.
Yeah.
That's way too crazy. He does make some comment about the car. He's kind of like, "Where are the horses?" or something like that.
Right. Also, I love that, like, he might be from the olden times, but there's still things that exist in that world that aren't made out of wood.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they gave him an apple on the computer and he's like, "Such sweet wood and deliciousness this is."
Of course, I come from the rock age.
Yeah.
When everyone eats pebbles.
Exactly. Like, baskets. That's not wood.
Yeah.
Wait, is that wood?
That's the worst example you could have given.
No, I'll try again. Like, books. Oh, shit. No, what? Brooms, sticks, trees,
Twigs.
trees. Oh, I don't know. Well, it's not made out of wood. Smaller trees. Fuck.
You look over, I'm made of wood.
Everything's wood. I'm slowly sinking into the computer, becoming wood.
I'm just snacking on a twig. What
Go
are you
on.
talking about, Rory?
Doing your Peter voice. Everything is obviously made of wood, Rory.
Care for a twig? They're great with this wood sauce.
Sauce. It's like sap, tree sap.
At this point, Ken is no closer to understanding if these messages are hoaxes, because whilst anyone could be sending fake messages from the past, they are sending and receiving messages too fast for someone to be breaking and entering the home every time. They've kind of ruled that out.
Okay.
That someone's literally running in and doing it and then running away again. That doesn't really make sense anymore.
So, throughout all these messages, though, all these responses and sent messages,
Yes.
have they ever been there and sat at the computer when one of those files appears? Or do they always have to leave and then come back?
I think they have been in the vicinity of it because they keep the computer in the kitchen.
It's like a live chat at this point. It sounds.
Yeah, it is. I definitely have to disclaimer again that there are no copies of this book to buy, so I haven't read this book and there's no ebook available, so I'm gathering this from reports from people who've read it.
Right.
But from what I gather, they've stayed in the house, in like the living room kitchen. So I think unless someone is jumping out from underneath the sofa and typing it up, they've ruled it out. Again, they've replaced the computer. So there's nothing special about any one computer. These computers are so basic back then. The only way onto that computer is through the floppy disk drive.
That's crazy.
But yet, the messages keep arriving, and in more and more new files. Lukas messages again with several details about the area he lives in, where he studied, etc. So giving all these historical details, as you said, that should be fact-checkable. And all the while, Ken and his friends are reading these responses and trying to catch him out, looking for inconsistencies about the language he uses. I mean, as an example of the language he uses, I think Peter... he's working on the Old English and stuff. He says, I think there were 2 instances of words that came from the 1600s, not the 1500s.
He said dope and lit in 2 of the emails, which are the only...
He name dropped Kardashians, actually. What we're saying here is this is an unbelievable level of consistency.
Right.
That it's all period correct, apart from those 2, which are 50 years later. And for all we know...
could have been used at the time and undocumented or something like that, right? Or he was like a trendsetter. He brought them in.
And all the while they're trying to catch him out, what they don't expect to happen is it's Lukas who snaps first. He's told them where he studies, where he lives, etc. And he says, why do you tell such lies? If you were alive, you would know that no such college exists. Why do you speak of a power of which I have no knowledge? That's when they were talking about electricity.
Right.
It is you who makes me afraid. And Ken and co realize, holy shit, this time we thought we were being hoaxed. Lukas thinks he's being hoaxed too. So he's like trying to catch them out.
Right.
With references to like places that don't exist. If we think about this, if it were a hoax, he would be telling them these lies and trying to get away with it. But rather, Lukas is like, what the hell? Like, you guys are claiming to be from the same place I'm from, and you don't know any of these places, you're just going along with it?
Here's where I draw issue with this.
Please.
So, the guys with the computer,
yes,
they're experiencing this from a device within their conceivable world.
Yes,
it's a computer that is in existence.
Yes.
I'm assuming that Lukas is looking through some sort of wormhole in his living room, and he's like, I don't know if I believe you guys, and you're not just trolling me.
Yeah.
Presumably, I don't know what he could be doing.
Yeah,
that's
he's
within
like, you haven't
his
been on
conceivable
Pennycoat Lane?
Yeah. Unless the way he's responding is like, I don't know, writing it on a piece of parchment and putting it in a drawer, and then the letter disappears.
Like sending up the fireplace to Santa Claus
something like that. Unless he's doing that, then I don't know how he thinks he's being tricked.
I guess the reason he is so convinced is because in these visions, however those are taking place, he's seen those guys in his house.
Okay.
He's experienced... Yeah.
Like what? In human form? Or as like ghastly visions? Or...
So slowly and slowly, Ken, Debbie, and Nicola are realizing that not everything can be explained by a straightforward prank. It's becoming way too complicated.
Someone go in. Someone go in the laptop.
What do you mean?
Someone go rest your face.
So I've got a laptop here. What do you think? So
rest your face on it.
What?
Go in.
What?
How can I make this more clear?
You keep saying it, but what do you think is going to happen if I do that?
If ye put y'all face,
that's very confusing dialect. Yeah,
on the keyboard, on the BBC keyboard.
That's not what I have, but sure.
It's all the same. It's all computers.
Okay,
you could go
really.
Like the photograph. Go in, but he'll only take your head.
You said go. You said go in
he'll
again.
He'll only take your head.
That's not what I'm concerned about.
And then while he's waiting for a message, you can pop out and be like, Lukas!
Okay.
It's me! And then show him your face.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, touching it, like, what soft, silky wood is this? Like he's never felt human hair before. And then you can show him it's real.
I'm still stuck at the at the go in.
Yeah, go in.
I mean, saying it faster doesn't.
I said,
Jesus. You kept that one quiet.
Got like an old English rifle. Where'd you get that?
You're Lukas, I think.
I'm assuming they don't.
Okay, they don't go in.
Oh shit.
Not yet. And in one of these messages, Lukas writes that he's seen Debbie in his own home. Ken reads this and doesn't know what he means right away, but Debbie kind of interrupts and goes...
Like naked? Sorry, okay. Judging by that laugh, I can
no
tell
one was-
that's not where you were headed.
No one was going there.
Yeah, all right. One track mind power strikes again.
Debbie's a
Oh.
guy, dude.
Oh, that's fine.
Can you imagine? Lucas was just trolling him and he's like, Ken, your girl was with me last night, though. She came to the crib after hours, wanted to see what was up, 1560 style or whatever the
Wanted some of ye old timey wood, if you catch my drift.
wanted some of this silky wood.
Gave her a piece of my floppy D. How does he know what
How
that
does
is?
he know?
How does he know? All right, I don't think he's real. We need to start locking the windows.
But Debbie says to Ken, you know, I've had some weird dreams lately. I dreamed I was in an old English house last night.
Bring this up, Debbie. Bring this up on the day. You know what's happening in this house.
I don't know. She's living a weird life right now. There's freaking food and trinkets are stacking themselves.
But I mean, mention it.
Like your living room.
I guess, yeah. Okay, I'll let it.
But it's like, it's like my revelation of the freaking cat dream on this podcast.
Yeah.
I kind of forgot it till it came up. That's what I think's happening.
Okay, that's a good example.
You know? She said she dreamed she was in an old English house hundreds of years ago. She didn't really think much of it, but she dreamed she walked through this house and was confronted by an old-timey man. Ooh. Before she snapped awake. She thought the messages were just getting to her and it was kind of seeping into her subconscious.
Right, that's what I'm thinking.
But Lucas claims to have been visited by her. So this is another like bizarre layer of like physical computer there, and then the layer of like these messages that are, where are they coming from? Sir, you have your hand raised.
Yes,
What is
I
your
have
issue?
a question. Did she fall asleep napping on the keyboard of the laptop?
And did she go in?
Did she go in?
No.
Did she
I don't
go
know what
in?
that means.
I will say it faster. Did she go in?
Oh, it's go in.
Go
Oh,
in.
sorry, I did. Yeah, I can't. Sorry for roasting you that entire time. No.
Yes.
She go in.
Now that you said it slightly quicker, everything is settled. She did go in.
If I describe this entire tale slightly faster, maybe it'll make more sense.
Just think, I'm just spitballing here. I'm trying to piece this together.
I don't know why I'm like, I'm being so harsh on this point because
Yeah!
the
Well, look,
story
you're
is
serving me. And I'm just trying to roll with the punches.
fresh trays of poop.
Kicking me in the balls. Look, I'm just a paranormal investigator. I put A and B and X files together. All I can do is work with
Always
the little
X
pieces
file.
of the paranormal puzzle that you've given me. What you've given me is a wormhole to ye olden days. So what are my logical thinkings? How are they getting to the olden days?
Yeah. I
Boom.
mean, to be fair, there's any number of ways in which this could be happening. This is uncharted territory, guys and galls. So
Guys and ghouls.
And I'll point out again that all throughout this time, the house is experiencing weird physical activity again. All the food and objects are in the house being stacked on one another. From time to time,
Like Scooby snacks.
it's stacking massive sandwiches.
Yeah.
But what they do find is some weird relationship by which whenever they're regularly sending and receiving messages, it seems to keep the paranormal activity to like a minimum.
Okay.
But in between those times, it starts to like ramp up again. But it's all taken to another level when one day Ken and Debbie enter the house and there's chalk all over the walls. It's starting to like get out of control. There's chalk all over the walls in loopy patterns, and they realize that it's handwriting, like old-timey handwriting, and it's signed off at the end, Lukas. And I've actually got a photo for you here.
No.
Yes, sir.
That's so cool.
This photo is actually, because it was over a different part size, this particular one I found is from the book. It was printed in the book, and it's of the ground, and you can kind of see what's going on. It looks near like elvish or something.
Okay. Oh, this is really cool. Man, I forget how recent this is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm looking at here is, I mean, it's a pretty bare floor. It looks almost concrete. And there is essentially, like you've described, elvish-like Old English writing just sprawled all over the floor, which is interesting. Has Lewis written this in his house and it's appeared in the modern day house?
Yeah, possibly.
Lucas, sorry.
Because in the same way that Ken left the photo that appeared then in Lucas's timeline,
Right.
I guess his writings appearing in Ken's timeline.
What did he mention about his floor in the first bit? It was like old redstone floor.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually. That was a kind of interesting point that Lucas
said his floor was Yield Portal at the beginning of the first email. Yield Stargate, he mentioned. Did Lucas mention he lived in a DeLorean? I feel like that was an important part he should have illustrated.
Have you seen Ye Old Matrix? Pick up the phone. Yeah, Lucas mentions that he had a redstone floor of some kind.
Yeah.
And around this time, Ken and Debbie are doing renovations on the house. So I think what you're seeing there is the red stone.
No.
So between the photo disappearing, Debbie visiting Lucas in the dream world, and these chalk drawings, it's like the two worlds are linked in some way, or the veil that separates the two different timelines or dimensions is thinning somehow.
Okay.
Well, the same day they receive a message to the BBC Micro, but it's different, this time from an entirely new messenger.
I'm Stephen from the future. Ah, shit. It's going both ways now.
You shouldn't.
Hello, Stephen. It's Ye Old Lewis. Just let them talk. Just put it in the corner and let them talk. We're out of this. Tell me, Stephen, have you seen Silky Wood?
My good man, I have heard of your griffins, lions, and wondrous possessions, and it is too fantastic to understand, and your people are unnatural, but I have no dread. You are a phantasm of great powers. I feel as though you are in the future. I ask, when this king ends his reign, who will be the next king? I will not give you my name, nor Lucas's true description and name. Signed, a friend.
Nor Lucas's true description or name.
You kind of gave the gig away there for Lucas, right?
I won't tell you who Steve is pretending. I won't tell you Lucas's real name.
So Lucas isn't even his real name.
Goddamn, that little slimy
dastardly
worm.
dog.
The worm with a worm
silky worm. What's he trying to hide? The next morning, Debbie wakes and complains of another weird dream. She's back in what must be Lucas's house, and he's there with what looks like his wife, but they're arguing because Lucas can see Debbie, but his wife thinks that he's lost his mind. She's just seeing an empty room, and he's like, "Look, it's Debbie," and he's obviously just talking to like a blank wall or whatever. Well, to Debbie, it was only a dream, but the repercussions were greater than they thought. The next message they received on the micro was from Lucas's friend once more. You foolish scoundrel, you've brought ruin to my friend. I guarantee your death by my own name. Your charm of light is to be avoided because now he sits in a shameful dungeon.
Woo.
It turns out that word had gotten out in the 1500s about Lucas's communication with the future, and back then, it wasn't good news. People thought you were a witch or something,
of course.
You know? And so basically they threw him in the slammer. Lucas is being detained in his house at this point, and he sends a message to Ken, Deb, and Nicola. He says, I know not who betrayed me and accused me of witchcraft, but I know that you are my true friends. What can be done? I cannot take your hand before sentence of death. I must hear your words before I bid farewell. You said your people's time is 1985. I thought your time was also 2109, like your friend who brought the box of lights to me.
No. I absolutely refuse this. This is where I stop. I'm off. I'm out. I'm done. No, I'm done, man. No, he doesn't mention this after 18 months of contact. He doesn't then, when he's locked up, say that someone from the future brought him a magic box.
But he didn't...
Why does he think he's being trolled if someone's already shown up and brought him a magic box from the future? And he still doesn't believe what's happening.
I mean, I think the idea is I think he didn't know they were from 1985, or he forgot.
He forgot!
I don't know.
He forgot when a wizard from the future shows up and hands him a computer? Also...
No, he remembers that bit. He doesn't remember when these guys are from.
This is insane. Because what? So now he's been given a magic box from the future that I assume is a computer that can communicate with computers from his future.
Sure.
Then he gets a photograph and he's like, "What wooden silk is this?" He can't. He's baffled by that. He's got a computer. He's got a future box.
This is a good time.
He's got technology that we don't have now.
Yeah, it was something I was going to get to later, but to quell your disbelief, sir, at this point, I would say,
F*** off.
kick over the table, hit you in the dick. Lukas in the 1500s is not going to be able to type on a QWERTY keyboard.
Of course.
I believe the way that it works for him is a bit like the way that Debbie dreams and sees Lucas's world.
Right.
Lukas either sees it in a dream or in some sort of altered state. The way he experiences it is that he's speaking these messages.
Oh, because it's in his old
them.
English native tongue, sort of.
Yes, so he's not like literally like typing it out like...
What was he given from the future?
I don't know, man. We don't know that.
Okay. Continue onward, but know that...
I think you say, but no.
But know that I'm hesitantly going with you at this point, from this point onward.
Not knowing what else to do, but needing
It's
to...
gonna get worse, isn't it?
Absolutely it is.
He pulled a rifle from his jacket from the year 3002.
But Ken needed to get to the bottom of this. He thought to himself, it's worth a shot. He grabbed the keyboard and started typing a command on the BBC Micro.
Hack time.
Not far off. Calling 2109? Question mark.
What is that? I mean, he knows the computer has no online capabilities. What does he think is gonna happen? No, just tell me. Please just tell me.
You'll have to find out next week.
Oh no!
I'll be real with you guys. There's more to this story, and it gets weirder, deeper, more odd, and it comes like this story doesn't end in 1984. Like this, the people that wrote this story are alive today, and they have a lot to say about it. There's more people involved.
Oh my
and
God.
It gets crazy.
This sounds amazing.
So I was gonna fit this into one episode, but it got too big and too crazy. So we're gonna have to come back next week.
Hey, that's exciting. What an exciting second half to come back to. We've laid the ground now, and the payoff is gonna be sweet.
Absolutely.
I'm really looking forward to it.
So I guess if you guys want to follow us online and see what we're chatting about between now and next Tuesday, you can hit us up on the email with ideas at thisparanormallifepodcast@gmail.com. No doubt we'll be posting memes about all this on @thisparaLife, our Twitter. Rory's @RoryHasPowers.
Absolutely.
I'm @Kit Greer, GRIER.
Tweet us your theories. I'm
Tweet us
interested
your
to see,
theories.
Kit's going for it. I'm a little skeptical.
Yeah.
We want to know where you guys come in on this one.
That's
if you have
right.
any experience in, laptop, futuristic teleportation portal devices. That would be great.
And granted, it's a little bit early because we haven't come to conclusions. We haven't got to the end of the story. But some of you guys might have read the book and might be able to chime in whether you think it's bullshit or not. We might run a poll this week.
Oh yeah, that would be great. That would be really
cool.
awesome. It's a good idea.
So make sure and tune in next week, and thank you for listening to another episode of This Paranormal Life.
#investigate.